We are back, and so is the wildfire smoke. Unfortunately, the air quality, a big concern on our Monday. Welcome back to Weather for Weather Geeks, everyone. We're going to talk about the air quality situation, which we do have some good news as we head into Tuesday. We're also going to talk about rain chances, not only this evening, but later this week as well. In this video, we'll take a look at the longer range as well. We'll start out this evening at 7:09. This was the scene in Youngstown. Yuck. I mean, the visibility just isn't great. The air quality has been poor throughout the day, and the good news is this is a kind of a shorter air quality episode than what we dealt with at the end of June. But, you know, it's one of those things where in Canada, there's so much real estate covered by fires. Most of this is in very remote areas where few people live, but more importantly for the firefighting efforts, it's in mountainous areas, it's in remote areas. It's going to be next to impossible to put all these out without serious help from the weather. So for the rest of the summer, you know, unfortunately, anytime the jet stream configures itself so that we get a kind of a northwest flow coming into the Great Lakes in the northeast, we're going to be dealing with this until probably the change of the seasons and cooler, wetter times come in for the fall and winter seasons. So it's not a simple thing. You know, I see some comments occasionally about you know, why doesn't Canada, you know, sweep their forest floors and things like that. It's not quite that simple. This is serious stuff, and you know, this began back in May when it was exceptionally hot and very, very dry with low relative humidity, and these forests have just a ton of stuff that can burn very easily. The fires almost explode when you have relative humidity values of 15% or something like that. And that's the situation we found ourselves in back in the springtime, and we haven't seen a whole lot of improvement yet in the summer. So as a result, our air quality locally has been in the unhealthy category for most of the day today. It'll continue to be in that category for much of the night tonight, but then a transition day coming up for tomorrow. I'm expecting the smoke to get swept away pretty nicely by the afternoon especially. So still some probably unhealthy air quality at the start of the day, but we could improve by at least a category, if not two categories, by the end of the day. We could go from unhealthy air quality to just in the moderate category, which is, you know, pretty nice, before the day is through, because again, I'm looking for quite a bit of improvement in the air quality situation. And once that improvement settles in, I don't expect air quality to be much of a concern for the rest of the week. All right, as of the time of this recording, at 7:11 p.m., you know, the coverage has been pretty small with showers and thunderstorms today. It was definitely higher for a while to our south and east. We had some pretty hefty storms down near Parkersburg, Marietta, Clarksburg, Morgantown, some of the Pittsburgh area. Still have some heavy storms near the Ohio River in southern Ohio right now. And then perhaps some more concern for our viewing area. I've been keeping an eye on a couple of these cells that initially formed on a lake breeze just south of Sandusky. Occasionally there's been some pea-sized hail with this, but not seeing it strengthen to anything beyond that. This is coming across Interstate 76, coming into the Barberton and Akron area here before too much longer. We'll see what this does for the rest of the evening. We've also had a couple of heavier cells closer to home in Lawrence County, and quick downpour as of 7:11, 7:12 over in eastern parts of Mercer County, especially just north of Interstate 80. Now, a lot of the storms today have been kind of feeding on some somewhat higher dew point air to our south and east. That's why the storms wanted to line up more down here for a time. The dew point's a handful of degrees higher for a lot of the day today down there. Notice the dew points are looking pretty nice to our north and west. Unfortunately, we're not going to get firmly into that air mass, but it is going to try to come in tomorrow, that drier air. The front is just going to kind of stall just to our south, so we're going to spend a lot of tomorrow with dew points in the lower 60s, upper 50s, which isn't bad for middle July, but it's not the lower 50s like some of our friends and neighbors in the upper Midwest this evening. Actually, the dew points might drop into the mid-50s for a time tomorrow evening, so comfortable air ahead. In the meantime, you know, there's been a lot of extreme weather in the U.S. No doubt you've heard about some of this in recent weeks. Now, Death Valley, California, 128. Yesterday, some unofficial thermometers in Death Valley got above 130, but officially the high, I believe, was 128 yesterday afternoon. Rainfall in excess has been a story in parts of the U.S., not necessarily here at home. In fact, a relative minimum over the last 2 weeks across parts of east central Ohio and western PA. Hardly anything, of course, compared to what's gone on in New England. These are the rainfall totals over the last 14 days. A huge amount of real estate covered in these dark reds and browns. Look at the color scale up here. We're talking 4, 5, 6, even up to 10 inches worth of rain in some spots over the last 2 weeks. It's been just a crummy summer in the Northeast. We've had maybe not a great summer because it's either been too dry and too smoky, or we've had some thunderstorms that have interrupted your plans. But in the Northeast, it's been a bigger oscillation between a deluge of rain or wildfire smoke. It's gone back and forth. It's been just not a great summer weather-wise in places like Boston and Nashua and Albany and places like that. Our weather, by comparison to them at least, has been somewhat better. Speaking of somewhat better things are in store for our Tuesday. The sky clears, the haze and smoke clears out towards the end of the day. The models are trying to hint that this front gets hung up close enough to us that maybe we couldn't totally rule out a shower tomorrow afternoon. I left it out of the forecast today. It's probably a 5 to 10% chance kind of a thing. Hardly worth mentioning, but if you're unlucky, maybe you'll see a raindrop or two tomorrow afternoon. Wouldn't be anything significant. Maybe just kind of an inconvenience if you happen to be outdoors. But again, real small chance. Wednesday should be dry as well. And here's our next weather maker. It comes our way Thursday. And I would expect the radar to get kind of busy in the afternoon with a scattering of showers and storms. And I suspect when the Storm Prediction Center issues their Day 3 severe weather outlook in the middle of the night tonight, this will be Day 3 for Thursday, a marginal risk of severe weather will probably be issued for just about all of Ohio and western PA. It doesn't look like a big severe weather setup to me, but a marginal risk probably of some gusty winds and maybe some hail with any storms on Thursday. But look how dry this forecast actually is. Thursday night unsettled at times, but we probably dry things out Friday, and I'll tell you, the weekend looks really nice at this point. Never too early to start thinking about the weekend. And here on Monday, all things are looking up for the weekend. What's not looking up, the dew points. They're looking down, actually. Dew points may settle into the 50s, maybe well down into the 50s for the weekend, and with some sunshine both Saturday and Sunday right now, the weekend is looking really good. And, I'll tell you, I know some unofficial thermometers locally have had more 90-degree days, but at the airport we've only had one. It hasn't been a particularly hot summer so far, as we expected. This is going according to plan, and while it surely is going to get pretty warm towards the middle of next week, upper 80s to around 90, that's pretty boilerplate, pretty standard issue stuff for late July in our area. I don't see any kind of pattern anytime soon that would yield a 95-degree day. That'll do it for me on this Monday night. If you're in one of those sensitive groups because of health concerns, just take it easy, of course, through tomorrow morning if you have to be outdoors, especially if you have to exert yourself for any reason. But otherwise, we should be in better shape across the Mahoning and Shenango Valleys Tuesday afternoon.